poor and minority children cannot learn at the same high academic levels. Day in and day out, they remind us that we cannot turn back the clock on our commitment to fulfill the true promise of American education for all of this nation's public school children. Lincoln Elementary School in Mount Vernon, New York. 69% African American and Latino, 49% low income, outperformed 3/4 of New York elementary schools in both reading and math for 3 years in a row. In 2002, it outperformed 98% of schools in math and 99% in English. And look at that, it's completely closed the racial achievement gap. Diverse school. It's not the kind of school where white students are kind of pulling up the test scores of other students. This, in fact, is a school that has, it's very diverse, and it has pretty much completely closed, as of last year, the racial achievement gap. So at a time when people are saying doing that is impossible, No Child Left Behind is demanding something that education just can't deliver, this is a school that absolutely blows that myth out of the water. We are just very, very fortunate and feel privileged to have Lincoln Elementary School presenting here at the Education Trust Conference today.
Before we start the program, I just want to give you some basic statistics about the school, and I want to thank a few people here this afternoon. Everybody can hear me? Okay, my name is George Albano. I'm the principal of Lincoln Elementary School in Mount Vernon, New York. We're a suburb of Westchester County, but we're the southern point of Westchester, which means our neighbor is the South Bronx. So we're in the area of Mount Vernon, Yonkers, New Rochelle. So those are considered southern communities in Westchester. If you know anything about Westchester County or New York State, it's probably one of the most affluent counties in New York State, but we're not one of the most affluent cities or school communities. It's far from that.
We have never had a Secretary of Education before in this country who believes as deeply as he does in the capacity of all kids, even the poorest, to achieve at high levels. This man is unequivocal about that. There is nobody, at least to my knowledge, in this country who feels more passionately than he does about the need to close the achievement gap and the potential to do that. So it is my honor to introduce to you today the Secretary of Education, a man I am proud to call a friend.
Katie, thank you so much for that delightful instructions. I deeply appreciate it. But I appreciate even more your fine work in pursuit of quality education for all children across the United States. I'm delighted to be here. And just looking across the audience, I can see many friends and people who are champions in this field. The Education Trust has been a champion, and still is, for disadvantaged children. tenacious advocate for closing the achievement gap, and a strong supporter of every child in the United States of America. The passage of the No Child Left Behind Bill, too, gives us the framework that we can use to accomplish the goal that all of us want to achieve. And the S Trust has been a staunch visionary partner along the way. And we're making progress. I've come here today to discuss the progress we've made and to suggest further areas of partnership. I've come here today also to ask your help in continued implementation of the No Child Left Behind Act. We must not ignore the immense amount of work that's already taken place and the amount of momentum that we're beginning to build. I named in my little talk, "We Can Do This." And when I looked at your program, I recognize you've already made that statement for me. You are doing this. And we just got to get more people to understand that. As you know, we're only in the second year of a program that goes on into the century. Even before his election, President Bush articulated the need for change in our schools. In my view, he deserves great credit for this. And Katie, yes, you are a proud Democrat. And I appreciate you for that. But you know, although I too am I'm a proud Republican, this bill transcends that. This is not about Republicans or Democrats. This is not about independents. This is about children across the United States. This is about the United States of America. This is about us. And the Congress showed this too in their bipartisan way, the way they dealt with this. And I want to express my appreciation to the leadership in the Congress, that you'll recognize the bipartisan kinship that they have. Kennedy and Gregg, both ends of the spectrum. Boehner and Miller in the House, both ends of the spectrum. These men had not worked together like this before. But they recognized the importance of this and joined hands in pursuit of what is best for our country. And we know that this quick bipartisan partnership was a lesson to all of us. The president's vision, but the Congress's bipartisan work. This was important because the American school system had kind of generated itself into a two-tiered system. A world-class education system for some, who had outstanding schools, and an inadequate education for many in schools that needed reform. And this two-tiered system has sprung upon us an achievement gap that is unbelievable today. One that I believe is this nation's #1 social justice issue. An achievement gap between the ethnic groups that is at the heart of many of the other difficulties that we have. We have the capability right in our schools to change this. You understood this. And so together you've helped us take an idea and bring this idea to life. An idea to become more powerful than the opposition that is mounted against it. An idea that is so powerful that it will overcome the barriers of special interests. An idea that is so powerful that it will overcome the inflexible bureaucracies, the organized defenders of the status quo, and those simply who are good people but just afraid to change. This idea, a simple idea, one that just says, we don't want to leave any children behind. Who could argue with that? This is what we're trying to accomplish. And when we look around us, we see we are leaving too many behind. And that's what we want to stop doing. Together we watched as history was made when the Congress in a bipartisan way passed this law and made it the law of the land. In pushing for its passage, we were able to convince millions of Americans that reform was needed and that this approach to reform can bring about the change that we need and that we can do this. No Child Left Behind is a landmark accomplishment of American education. And I thank you again for your valuable support. And I thank you for your wise counsel. And I thank you for your aggressive advocacy. Passage began the process. Now we find ourselves working together to help educators implement the law. There are some school districts that have seamlessly carried out this bipartisan law and this will of the people. These districts see the importance of contribution of the No Child Left Behind Act. Millions of children benefit from the law right now because of the hard work and the vision and the innovation of superintendents and administrators and teachers and many of the other people in our nation's schools. Every day I hear of schools that are making the grade. Every day I read of schools that are fully engaged in implementing the law. Every day I'm thankful for the strenuous effort that translates educational opportunity into emancipation for kids, into freedom for kids, and into hope for kids. But also, every day I hear some school districts oppose change. Every day I read of schools blaming the No Child Left Behind Reform Act for cuts in funding, for elimination of programs, for staff reductions, for overcrowded classrooms, and